walk through the
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And I want to say happy Halloween to everyone, if you're into that type of thing. I think about Halloween. I think about kids mostly. I think about the kids. I think about all the things I got to do now as a dad, right? Me and Paxton, the Packing Man, we actually we dressed up, man. We dressed up as superheroes. I'm trying to see if I can actually pull up that picture for you all so I can put it on the screen. But I think Halloween is mostly just for kids. He has an event at his daycare, and then I got to take him trick or treating. So it's fun that he's so excited about it, because this year, for those that been following the show, I mean, Paxton is 3 years old, and now he's starting to understand about holidays and what it means, and that's very detrimental to your pockets. When kids start to realize the toys that they want and the candy that they want to eat, it's detrimental to your pockets, and it's a great experience. Being a dad. Now it's like he always wants to be around me now. It's a pretty cool thing. And I guess I have to cherish that, because everybody that has kids tells me, you better enjoy while you can, because they're going to have a point where they ain't going to have nothing to do with you. But look, man, happy Halloween to everybody. Hope everybody's enjoying their day. Hope everybody's enjoying their Monday. It is a Victory Monday. It's been a while since we actually had one of these Victory Mondays. I kind of forgot what they feel like. But they feel pretty doggone good. They feel pretty good, especially coming, off of a shutout. But this is the picture I was talking about. This is me right here, dressed as the Black Panther. And then, of course, we have your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, which is the Packing Man. Okay, so pretty cool stuff right there, man, to be able to do that with your son. And, and also a part of you may want to do it, but, You look like you're the greatest dad in the world, or the greatest mom in the world. When you get an opportunity to dress up, and have fun and do it with your kids, right? But back to the New Orleans Saints. It's a Victory Monday. Excited about the victory. The Saints get the goose egg, 24-0. Been a good weekend for me, man. Jackson State shut out Southern 35-0, and now New Orleans shuts out the Raiders 24-0. So this is the direction that we want the Saints to go into. This is what we wanted. This is what we expected, going into the season, when we were watching this team at training camp, mini camp, all the reports that came out. We all thought that this would be the team that would have started the season. But I mentioned this on 103.7 a game. Shouts out to my guy, RP3, Raymond Parks III. But I said, like, there's not many teams that can come into the season and be able to hit the reset button midway through. Like normally around this time, if you have a record that was 2-5, you're pretty much dead to rights because everybody in the division pretty much has found themselves, right? But the New Orleans Saints have an opportunity to hit the reset button. And regardless to how bad you played offensively or defensively, or you losing a battle of attrition, this can actually come back and pay dividends for the New Orleans Saints, because now if you can string off enough wins, here comes Michael Thomas, here comes Jarvis Landry, here comes Marshawn Lattimore, and maybe here comes Trevor Penning. So a lot of the guys that were hurt early in the season, they'll be able to be back on the field. Oh, yeah, and I can't forget about P.J. Williams as well, who has came out and said he will be practicing this week. So hopefully we will be able to get P.J. Williams back in that safety role. But there are so many guys that are going to be able to come back. And if the Saints can continue this trajectory, then they can possibly, win this division. This division is wide open. I know the Falcons won yesterday and they're 4-4 and everybody's excited and they're ready to throw parades. But this division is wide open. There is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, that scares me about the Falcons or the Carolina Panthers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The fact that I feel like the New Orleans Saints could indeed get those victories. And, Atlanta Falcons fans, they're really talking bold. I was actually looking at some of the comments, and they were talking about, we ain't scared of y'all either, but nobody cares. Like, at the end of the day, nobody cares nobody fears Atlanta. Like, they are the luckiest team in America right now to be able to escape out of that. I guess, I don't know if David Tepper went up to Pena and was like, hey, man, look, we trying to tank here. I don't know if he's the only person that knew that and he just end up whiffing on 2 field goals. I don't know what's going on. But I see a lot of chinks or a lot of holes in the boat, if you will, when it comes to Atlanta Falcons and also the Carolina Panthers, and then definitely the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if the New Orleans Saints can replicate what we seen on Sunday, then I don't think there's a team in the division that can hold the New Orleans Saints, because the Saints, we all know, okay, we've made jokes about this. I know I've made my fair share of jokes, but we all know that the New Orleans Saints issues was not against their opponents, but it was within themselves. They beaten themselves in a lot of those games. Rather they were fumbling the football, rather they were turning the ball over, rather they were taking a sack. It was a lot of self-inflicted wounds that took place for the Saints to be in this particular position. If the Saints play like they did yesterday, they're the best team in this division. But if they continue to play like they did the last 7 games, then they're the worst. I mean, it's a fine line between good and bad with this team. And like I said, they're doing this, and they shut out the Raiders, with not even their starting defensive back. They didn't even come out there with their star wide receiver or the number 2 receiver, Jarvis Landry, and they still went out there and they put on a really good performance. And then some people will say, well, man, it's the Raiders. It's the Raiders. Well, the Raiders offense is ranked number 3 in the NFL. Well, they were ranked number 3 in the NFL coming into the game with the New Orleans Saints. Now, some people would say, and it's pretty fair, all right? I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that meme of Spider-Man pointing to the other Spider-Man, right? So some people will probably make an argument that Josh McDaniels and Dennis Allen are pretty much the same, right? They're 2 guys who got an opportunity to be a head coach. They failed. They got fired. Then they went back to the team that they made a name for themselves. They built themselves up again, and they got another opportunity. So you can kind of say, oh, man, they're doing the same thing. It's the same person. I don't care, okay? When you have Devontae Adams, who is one of the top receivers in all of football, when you have Josh Jacobs, who is one of the best running backs in all of football, when you have Max Crosby, who is one of the best pass rushers in all of football, when you have those guys out there, those guys are playing and they're pretty doggone good. And for you to be able to go out there and generate points and also pitch a shutout is pretty doggone commendable, because people can say, oh, you played the Raiders, but the Saints also played the Carolina Panthers. All right. They also played a very bad Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. So I'm not into that, right? Because I feel like any team can be, I don't care how good they are or how bad a team is, a bad team can beat a good team on any given Sunday. So trying to dismiss what the Saints did, this is the second straight year the Saints have pitched the shutout. Last year, they did it 9-0 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Now, it's their first home shutout since the St. Louis Rams game back in the day. That's that whole when Brandon Cooks got mad because he didn't get a catch in that game. He was somebody who wanted to get a trade, and he got his wish towards the end of the season. But I don't care what anybody says. This is pretty doggone impressive. And we can look at it as smoke and mirrors. We can look at it like it's an anomaly. But I try to look at this, and I want to look at this as a start of something that can be something special. Now, they got to continue to replicate this because I think Alvin Kamara said it best. It means absolutely nothing if you can't replicate this from week to week, right? And I feel like as a fan, I am going to be extremely frustrated. I am going to be extremely upset if the New Orleans Saints don't play like this for the foreseeable future, because don't try to tease me with this level of prosperity and then go back and resort back to what you've been for the last couple of weeks. Now, I understand that every opponent is different. This week, you have the Baltimore Ravens coming in next Monday on Monday Night Football, and you have to go out there and neutralize arguably the best RPO quarterback in NFL history. So, I mean, this dude is electrifying, and it's on a big stage, and we all know what Lamar likes to do on Monday night in prime time. So this is a whole different can of worms, but the confidence that you have from winning this game versus the Raiders, maybe you go into the game versus the Baltimore Ravens with that same level of enthusiasm. And this isn't my teenage years Baltimore Ravens where you play the Baltimore Ravens, you're not going to be able to do anything. Their defense was pretty much unstoppable. This defense has left a lot to be desired, and not to mention giving up big leads late in the game. I want to say for 4 straight weeks. They started the fourth quarter with a double-digit lead and were unable to hold on to it. So I'm not looking at all that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying that the capability of getting a victory over the Baltimore Ravens is in your sights. Now, like I said, you have to be able to play the same type of game that you played versus the Raiders. You have to be playing very disciplined football. You got to be able to run the football, and you got to be able to execute and convert on third downs. If you continue to do what you did against the Raiders, then you are going to be able to dig yourself out of this hole that you put yourself in and maybe get to the top of the NFC South if you have a few slip-ups. I'm looking at other schedules. I think Tampa. They got a tough game this coming weekend. You got the Atlanta Falcons. They got a tough game versus the Chargers, even though that's at home. The Chargers are looking to bounce back after that loss versus the Seattle Seahawks. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're even coming off a bye. So those are the type of things that the Atlanta Falcons going to have to look to. But the New Orleans Saints have to focus on themselves. They have to focus on winning this game versus the Baltimore Ravens, because right now you cannot afford to slip up at any time. Every single game is pretty much playoff implications, or you can look at every particular game as a playoff. Now, I heard there's this saying that everybody is saying now, just go to every game trying to get to 1-0. I like that approach, and maybe that's the approach the Saints need to get to, but you have to be able to win these games. You have to be able to play disciplined football, and it was a great start. It was great to see a lot of guys that we wanted to step up finally begin to step up. But let me go ahead and read some of these comments. We got 206 people here right now. I ask that you hit the like button. 206 people watching this right now. I ask that you hit the like button. I would really appreciate that. All right, so let's see. Johnny says, man, where the hell has this team been? I pray they're here to stay. This is the real Saints. This is how we supposed to play. And Pasta's been on the field early on. Glad to see the real Saints again. Johnny, yeah, I was wondering to myself, where was this team and where did they come from? It was almost like Kevin Burkhardt when they're Trevor Siemian threw the pass down the right sideline to Kevin White. And you're like, Kevin White, of all people, who are these guys? You know, that's kind of how I felt. Like, who are these guys? This is the team that we all thought they would be. We all were excited to see what this team can actually be. We were talking about, I only seen four losses. I only seen 3 losses. And here we sit with 5 losses midway through the season. And, you know, it's been a big disappointment so far. But once again, you can right these wrongs, luckily, because your whole division sucks and you have an opportunity to get back into the thick of things. So that's a plus. Tano Upright says Atlanta suck. Got saved by Carolina being trash. Look, I'm not a fan of the Atlanta Falcons. We all know that. I mean, look, they're excited right now, and they should be. For weeks, they've been honestly the best team in the South. But is that really saying anything? Not really, right? But it's like everybody just saying, "Oh, they came into the league, they came into the season with low expectations." Well, I mean, that's not the way it should be, right? I don't care if you didn't make good free agent decisions, good draft decisions. Like, you should want to go into the season believing that your team has a chance. And you know, now it's like, okay, we playing with house money. And you know, I don't like that whole Atlanta Falcon approach, because here's the thing: if they end up losing the division, all they're going to come out here and try to make up excuses like, well, nobody expected us to do nothing anyway, but look at us now. Like, man, that's loser talk to me. You know, that's loser talk to me. You know, like, I expect for the New Orleans Saints to be good. Like, I don't care who's the quarterback. I don't care who's the running back. I don't care who's the receiver. I don't care who's playing on defense. I expect for the New Orleans Saints to be good, right? I'm not saying, well, at least we won these many games, and at least we led the division after 8 weeks. Look, I don't believe in that whole glass half empty, glass half full type thing. I want to win, and winning is the only objective if you're a fan. Like, that's the only goal that you have, to win games, right? Not to have moral victories in the process. Moral victories were designed in 2006 when the Saints had a reputation for not being very good. Right. Well, at least we got to the NFC Championship game. I never thought that I would see that in my lifetime. 16 years later, I'm not just looking for the NFC Championship game. 16 years later, you shouldn't be looking for the NFC Championship game. You should be looking for the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl or bust every single year for me. OK, look, it's just like if you were born rich, a lot of money. Right. And all of a sudden, oh, you go on hard times. It's the repeat of the Great Depression of 1929, and you lose everything, right? You lose everything. You go from the penthouse to the outhouse. Now you're not having lavish living anymore. You're wondering to yourself, like, man, like, what's going on here, man? Like, man, I used to live this way. I can't go back to this. That's kind of how I feel, right? As a guy who has watched this team be the epitome of suck, then go from that to being one of the top teams in the NFC, the NFL, period. I don't want to just be sitting up here just happy that the Saints kicked the field goal to win. I don't want to just be happy that the Saints beat the Falcons. Like, that don't even impress me, to be honest with you. Like, it's funny, you know, but it don't impress me. Like, I don't look at the Atlanta Falcons or like some of these other teams in the division. I don't look at these teams like, oh, man, you know, like when they come to town, it's like a Super Bowl. Like, man, we done slapped these dudes around for so many years. I'm looking for playoffs. I'm looking for deep run in the playoffs. I'm looking for Super Bowl championship. That's what I'm looking for. Forget all this stuff about looking at and watching Atlanta. Like, Atlanta is so irrelevant to me. You know, like these teams that just kind of emerged, and now all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, they've kind of just been waiting in the shadows, hoping that a Sean Payton and a Drew Brees finally exit stage left so they can matter. Like, I don't really care about that. I care about what this team can do, and I know they're better. When they put their best foot forward and they're dialed in, there's not a team in the South that can beat this team. Straight up. I disagree with Flag on Moore yesterday. Why can't the players show emotion after the play? It was a miracle. Fire DA now. Look, It wasn't the fact that he celebrated. It was the fact that he took his helmet off. All right. That's a personal foul penalty. He took his helmet off after he scored that touchdown, which led to the field goal being a little bit longer. And Pena actually ended up missing that field goal. So, it wasn't the fact that he celebrated. It was the fact he took his helmet off. Falcon fans, as always, find ways to sneak a win. Well, look, honestly, Jerry, they don't. Like, usually in these cases, I must admit, they usually lose games like this, right? They usually lose these games, which they should have lost. Like, let's just make this clear. They should have lost the game. But hey, man, if you're 4-4, you're at 500, and you're celebrating like you just won your 7th Super Bowl, fine. But at the end of the day, like, the Saints have to stay focused on what they need to focus on. All right. And I must admit, the Carolina Falcons out-Falcon the Falcons. I feel Atlanta, their hoods are crazy. Let's see. Hey, TJ, have you heard that Sean Payton visit the Saints on Thursday? Yeah, he actually visited them on Friday. Shouts out to my guy Jeff Nowak, who covers the team. But yeah, he came in. Well, yeah, he did come on Thursday, not Friday. I think that's what people were saying. But anyway, there was nothing special about that. He just came there to visit because he was in town. He was in town, and he just passed by the facility. Some people didn't even know he was there. So a lot of people just think all of a sudden Sean Payton just got down and started writing down plays and giving rah-rah speeches left and right. Like, now I don't think anything was behind that. I think it was just more of, I'm in town, I'm gonna pass by, say hello to people. Don't worry about Atlanta, worry about y'all games. Don't worry about the State of the Saints podcast, worry about your team. See how that works? You're actually in a New Orleans Saints group. I assume that if you're talking about Atlanta, you're actually talking about, you're actually a Falcon fan. So why would a Falcon fan be in a New Orleans Saints group? You see how that works, right? Don't worry about Atlanta, worry about the Saints. Well, you're worried about the Saints because you're in the New Orleans Saints group. But you're in the New Orleans Saints group telling me not to worry about Atlanta. Help me make sense out of that. But nice try, though. I like the enthusiasm. 2 games this year with no turnovers. I like it. Keep it going. Can I get an encore? Do you want more? I definitely, I definitely want more of what I seen coming from the Saints on Sunday. So, like I said, man, like, let's just keep this thing going. I'm happy they won, but let's just keep it going. We played bad. Carolina Panthers win that game, but the call unsportsmanlike. Let's see. I heard Jarvis coming back for the Baltimore game. Well, that'll be great if he does. Who That Nation, we finally played a complimentary game yesterday and did not self-destruct, played smart, disciplined football, and look what can happen when they do. Yeah, not only did you do that, but you utilized players that were making plays throughout the season for you. You got the ball into the hands of Alvin Kamara, which is always a plus. You utilized Taysom Hill from start to finish, and you gave some more than one target to Rashid Shaheed, right? He had 3 targets, and he caught all 3, right? So, and then also, you have to contribute. You have to look at what he contribute in the special teams game. So all those things right there is what Saints fans have been clamoring for. And if you can run it like this, then I think you should be fine. Like, I know people, won't talk about the quarterback position and all that kind of stuff there, but they did what they needed to do to win. And that's all you can ask for. Good afternoon, TJ. Congratulations on the Saints victory. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that, Jules. Thank you so much, man. Let's see. How about them duck plucking Saints? Dang, what happened to Cooks? Well, it was a blowout game a couple of years back. Saints played the then St. Louis Rams, and they blew them out. And then Brandon Cooks was upset at the time. I want to say it was like 2016, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't get a reception or a catch or anything like that, and he got angry, and he was talking about he wanted a trade. So that where that whole Brandon Cooks trade thing stemmed from. I think DA needs to assign an assistant head coach to handle the administrative work so he can focus 100% on the defense. Well, look, here's the reality, Ekel. what he needs to do is what he needs to do is, like you said, delegate. I don't know if I'm pretty sure he has an assistant, but you need to rely on the guys that you have assigned for these positions in order for them to do their job. I don't know. Like, I just feel like a reset button was pressed. I think it was a combination of, getting away from that game against the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday night, guys doing some self-reflecting, coach doing some self-reflecting, seeing what we are doing, what we can do, what we can't do. And I think they kind of just focused on what they needed to focus on. They went back to the basics. They just like, okay, let's take a deep breath out of this. And the best thing about this, EK, is once again, this is the best thing to happen to the New Orleans Saints, because teams do not get opportunities like this all the time, folks. They do not get opportunity to press the reset button in the middle of the season this way. So they have a chance to really make a run out of this. If they're really serious, they put their head down and just focus on one game at a time. I like what I saw. This was a completely different New Orleans Saints team. The New Orleans Saints teams a couple years before, not a couple years, but a couple weeks before, it seemed like they were uptight. They were looking to not make a mistake. They were trying to do things to, make sure that I ain't being talked about by reporters. Or it seemed like there was just something about this team that was just not right. And for the first time all season long, it felt like the New Orleans Saints team that we came to know and love. So if we can keep this thing going, I think they should be fine. Allante Taylor has been a jolt of lightning, energy, and swag the Saints have been missing. Yeah, I think that you need that on the team. I think that you need guys that are out there that are encouraging one another. You need somebody that's out there that has this level of confidence. Like, this guy is a rookie. He's going up against, for the last 2 weeks, he's been going up against two of the best wide receivers in all of football, right? You had DeAndre Hopkins on Thursday night, and then you had Devontae Adams on Sunday. And you had to go up against these guys, and it doesn't get any better than that. And for him to understand the assignment, for him to realize that I belong here, that the lights aren't too bright for me, and he go out there and perform at a high level, you got to be really, really impressed. And if he can continue that momentum, I think he should be fine. But I want Who Dat Nation, I want you all to understand this, right? I don't want people to give up on this dude, because right now he looks like he's the toast of the town. But we have to take into account this dude is a rookie. So there might be a game where the offense might get the best of him. But I don't want people like, man, I thought Allante Taylor was good. You're going to see some ups and you're going to see some downs. All right. So what we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks are some positive things, but do not be discouraged if you see this dude give up a play, or something was to happen, because he's only going to get better. And you already got the confidence aspect going. You already got the flying around the field thing going. So to me, I think that the sky's the limit for him. As long, if he stay focused, I understand there's going to be some growing pains, but I think the Saints got to keep her. The landlord, thank you very much for $2, says, what do you think of my Saints pickup lines? Honestly, Josh, I didn't even look at them. I'm gonna have to go back and check them out. After I left doing the podcast, I ain't do nothing else. I was just kind of kicking and chilling with my family. My wife made some dinner, and I was just spending some time with my family. So I didn't get a chance to, but I'll make sure that I check it out. Let's see. Albert says, if Taylor can stick to Jefferson, then I'll be convinced. That would be awesome to see. Well, look, I feel like, based on me personally, I think Devontae Adams is better at this stage than Justin Jefferson, and so do I feel like DeAndre Hopkins. Like, DeAndre Hopkins to me is the creme de la creme. What makes him better for me is the fact that this dude has went out there and has been a premier receiver no matter who's throwing him the ball. Dude had Brock Osweiler throwing him the ball. Dude had T.J. Yates throwing him the ball, right? You had a bunch of, it was a long, tough road before they got Deshaun Watson in Houston that was throwing him the football. And yet this dude, no matter who the quarterback is, he was out there delivering the goods. So it don't get no better than that, all right? So you can talk about Justin Jefferson, but to me, those two dudes are better than him at this stage. I'm not saying that Justin Jefferson can't hang with him. I'm just saying that you don't get no better than these dudes right here. From the size, the speed, the hands, the body, the body control, for you to go back to back against with these dudes right here. Because here's the thing. For a while, DeAndre Hopkins was the best receiver in football. A lot of people considered that. And then all of a sudden, here comes Davante Adams with Aaron Rodgers, and then he became the best. So it's like, man, for him to be locked up on Davante Adams and DeAndre Hopkins in a 2-week span and still come away, pretty much looking like a diamond in the rough, that's commendable. But, I mean, if you go up against Justin Jefferson and you were able to do something like that to him, yeah, that would be impressive. But I'm already impressed because it don't get no better than those two dudes right there. I'm going to wear my Alvin Kamara jersey and Saints helmet for Halloween. I already have dreads, just need a mouthpiece. Let's see, TJ, how many matchups did Allante Taylor have with Davante Adams? I want to say he had maybe 4 or 5. It's something like that. He had like four, maybe 5. And all he had was 1 catch for 3 yards. And some people always talking about these catches and stuff, but if anybody ever played like the DB position, like he basically was guarding this dude in order for him to work his route to the outside, you know what I'm saying, on the sidelines, right? So you're asking Derek Carr to fit the ball in with about 6 inches of separation, right? Now, if this was like Mahomes or something like that, you probably get a chance, but it's hard when you have a DB guarding a guy and you have 6 inches of separation. This guy got to make a catch. Even though I must admit that was a hell of an effort with that catch that he made on the sidelines, but he didn't drag his foot in. I don't know, man. I mean, white shoes, white line. Maybe if he didn't have white shoes on, maybe it'd been a different story. But yeah, you got to give credit what credit is due. Let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Thank y'all, man. 286 people watching this. Please hit the like button if you have not already. Let's see. The way this team played yesterday, who plays quarterback doesn't really matter as long as they get the weapons involved. Yeah, get the ball into the hands of the playmakers, right? Get the ball in the hands of Alvin Kamara, right? I mean, you got him on that choice route. He was wide open twice, so it's get these guys involved, get these dudes involved. Like, get the ball in the hands of a Chris Olave, get the ball in the hands of a Rashid Shaheed. When Michael Thomas come back, get the ball into the hands of Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry and watch these dudes eat, right? And also continue to run the football. I don't understand some of these Saints fans out here. I don't understand some of y'all. Like, y'all want to see flashy plays. Y'all want to see the ball 60 yards of air distance, and y'all been playing too much doggone Madden, right? You know what I'm saying? You go at the 10 and then you're man wide open and you're looking at next gen stats. Oh, man, the ball travels 72 yards. Or y'all watching Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, do their thing. And you're like, man, why our quarterback can't do that? Look, there's nothing greater. There's not a pass. There's not a run that's greater than winning a football game. And I don't care how they do it. I don't care how they do it. Like, y'all can sit up here and get all upset because Andy Dalton, live to fight another week and you mad because you don't want him to be the quarterback. Yeah, go ahead and just completely destroy your process and your opportunity to really cheer for a team as they try to figure things out. Yeah, go ahead and do that. All right. And, be my guest. But as for me, I am going to cheer for this team. I'm going to support this team and whoever the quarterback may be. What I like what the Saints are doing. Like, I like that they are putting emphasis on the run, that they're a running team, and and then they're passing in certain situations to convert. Now, if you continue to do that, continue to run the football, you should be just fine. So there it is. I don't care about I don't care about a 60-yard bomb off the back foot. I don't care about no-look passes. I don't care about none of that stuff. I care about winning. And whatever it takes to win a football game, that's all that matters. I don't understand Pro Football Focus. They gave a Debo a 53 grade and Allante Taylor a 48 grade. It makes no sense. Well, I don't know why. I don't get it. I don't know. Ian Rappaport, Saints Mark Ingram suffered a grade 2 MCL sprain, so as it said, which means he is likely out 3 to 4 weeks. Could have been a lot worse for Ingram, who will be back soon. Yeah, man. It's unfortunate. Mark Ingram dealing with that knee injury, but it's time for these other guys to step up. But the Saints do have Jordan Howard on the practice squad. Jordan Howard, I like him a lot. You know, he's had some really good moments in the NFL. I expect for him probably to be a part of the active roster, servicing as a backup. I think the Saints like Dwayne Washington, but Dwayne Washington is so important on special teams that I don't think the Saints want to remove him from that. He got some snaps because I guess this was the emergency situation, and he was able to get some snaps. And I like Dwayne Washington, but I just think that the Saints like him as that special teams ace that he is. So I think that you're probably going to see Jordan Howard come up to the active roster. And Jordan Howard is a guy that can carry the football, man. And he also has that Latavius Murray element in him. He's a big physical guy. He leans forward. He's not gonna lose a lot of yards. He's not one of those guys that's gonna be tap dancing and trying to, make people miss. He's the one cut back. So it's a good change of pace for the New Orleans Saints to actually have a guy like that, when Alvin Kamara got to go get some Gatorade. So it's unfortunate for Mark Ingram, but luckily the Saints have a guy who can kind of pick up the slack. I mean, I got a lot of faith in Jordan Howard. He's had some injuries like over the last couple of years. His best moments was when he was playing with Tariq Cohen, and those two guys were a duo in Chicago. And then he got a contract with the Eagles, and I guess he was dealing with those injuries then. But I like the guy a lot. I think that he's serviceable for what the Saints need him to do. Once again, congratulations, TJ, on your promotion. Well, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, today is my first day as manager over here at WLGI. So I'm excited about it, man. So it's a new chapter in my life. I'm extremely humbled, man. And, for them to, elect me in for this position. But it's crazy, man, because, I mean, I just think about where I started from as a broadcaster. I started like doing podcasts in my apartment closet with a whole bunch of clothes in there so I can drown out echo and kind of soundproof my podcast. And I go from that to, doing, working at WLGI, doing podcasts. And now, it's extremely humbling, man, because I never thought that I would be in this position. But God is good. You're hearing anything about trade Greedy Williams or Kareem Hunt? We need another running back. Well, Marvin, here's the reality, man. We may need another running back, but I don't think getting Kareem Hunt is a good idea. Kareem Hunt, to me, is a featured back. He would still be a featured back if he didn't lie to the Kansas City Chiefs organization and said what happened on that tape between him and his girlfriend, or I don't know if it was a girlfriend or not or whatever. Like, it didn't go the way that he said. And when the tape came out, it was the complete opposite. So with that, he ended up getting cut, right? But let's not forget how special Kareem Hunt was when he was playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. I keep saying this. In 2017, he was almost a runaway favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year until Alvin Kamara just came and took the league by storm and surpassed him. But it was neck and neck for a good little minute, okay? There was two horses in the Kentucky Derby, and it was going to be a photo finish. And Alvin Kamara actually ended up getting that. And I think people tend to forget how special that dude was when he was playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I just think that he deserves another opportunity. It was unfortunate what happened with him. I haven't heard anything else from him. It seemed like, he got the memo. I think that this dude deserves to be a featured back. He's still young enough. He still has a lot of tread on the tire because he's sharing the backfield with Nick Chubb. So let's try to find this man a home where he can actually be the featured back. Wouldn't surprise me at all if we actually end up seeing this dude in our division with the Carolina Panthers next year. Or, even, heck, might even be this year, right? You lose Christian McCaffrey. What better way to replace a guy like Christian McCaffrey with a guy like Kareem Hunt? This dude deserves to be a starting feature back, not somebody that's just servicing as a backup for the New Orleans Saints. So I don't think that would be a good move. As far as Greedy Williams is concerned, I like him a lot, but I think that, it's mostly if the Saints were trying to make a trade for him, it's probably our love for LSU is probably why we want them to make that decision in the first place. I don't know if they'll be able to make a trade for him. I would love to see him in the Saints uniform. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Saints fans would love to see him in the Saints uniform. But to me, if the Saints going to make a trade, I would try to make a trade for a pass rusher. Seriously. Like, I know the Dogs was hunting yesterday and is making this statement sound crazy right now, but I only seen this in one game. Like, if we can get a guy that's consistently has a motor that's running real hot, that's opposite of Cam Jordan that can get home, and along with these other young guys that can get up in here and that can be hunting too, I think the Saints can really, truly make some noise, right? I would have loved for them to get Robert Quinn. Robert Quinn going to the Eagles, yeah, that's fine, but I think Robert Quinn is a better pass rusher on turf than he is on grass. Like, if you look at his numbers, while he was like playing like with the Rams and playing for teams that they actually played on turf, like his numbers were like absolutely insane. So the Saints actually getting this dude in there, that would be great for the New Orleans Saints. I would prefer for the New Orleans Saints to get a pass rusher before another running back, because you already got a star running back. All you basically need is a guy who can kind of just come in and serve as the running back when Alvin Kamara needs a break. And that's not what Kareem Hunt should be. TJ, let's see. I already read that one. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Appreciate y'all for being here. Thank y'all once again. Thank you for the people that just tuned in. Good afternoon. I'm a Ravens YouTuber, and I like to get together later in the week to talk about the upcoming game versus the Raiders. The Ravens hit me up. Okay, man. Look, you can email me at stateofthesaints@gmail.com. Stateofthesaints@gmail.com. Let's see. Maybe nitpicking here, but I'm kind of concerned with Will Lutz missing that short field goal. Yeah, I mean, look, that's a big concern. That's a big cause to pause. Will Lutz has not been as good as he's been in years past. Like, he's been decent, right? I mean, we remember those 4 field goals when the Saints was in the red zone 5 times. That's all fine and dandy, but we have to take that into account. We're not paying attention to it now because it didn't affect the outcome of the game. But there's going to come a time when the Saints are really going to need him to be able to make these field goals. And if you're missing it, then what happens? What happens? Like, man, if Will Lutz would have made this field goal, we would have won. So we definitely don't want to go down that rabbit hole. And yes, I'm really concerned about that. So maybe the Saints, they may need to bring somebody else in, that can kind of compete. But at this stage, like, who is out there that is going to give Will Lutz a run for his money and have him like a little nervous? Like, if you're out on the street right now as a kicker, it's probably because you missed too many field goals and you got cut, or it's just, you're not good enough to be in the league at this particular time. TJ, people are going to do with Allante Taylor what they did with P. Warner. Praise him when he has a solid performance, but say we need to cut him and he's a bust if he gets beat. Yeah, that's kind of like what it is, man. The emotional aspect of the Saints fan, right? It's, oh, man, this guy's great. This guy's great. Like, hype him up. Get mad at me, man. Why you ain't mentioning him? And then the next week he goes out there and he stinks it up. Then all of a sudden, man, TJ, what you think about Allante Taylor, man? I don't know if he it. I don't know if he the answer. Like, all I'm saying is that's why I'm preparing people right now, because right now he's the toast of the town. He got the key to the city, top down and puffing like Diddy. But right now, he's the man, but there's going to come a time where he's going to look like he's a rookie. And some people might not, understood that whole metaphor, what I just said. if you ever heard that song by the St. Lunatics, key to the city, I am the key to this city, top down windows land puffing like Diddy, ride cause them haters can't stand T with it, honk your horn twice if the missus looking pretty. Yeah, Yeah, he had the key to the city right now, but you know, let's pump the brakes a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Also get this young man a chance. A wise man said, "Never apologize for winning in the NFL. Hopefully, they can build on what they did yesterday." That's right, Joey. Can we build on that? Can we build on it? That sound, you know what I'm saying? That sound pretty good, man. You know, like I said, you have the opportunity to press the reset button. So let's go ahead and press that thing. Salute to you, brother. Congrats. I agree. Jameis makes the offense explosive while Andy makes it methodical. And that's kind of like what the Saints have been. Like when Drew Brees kind of lost the arm strength element of his game, you know, the Saints were a methodical team. They were nickel and dominant down the field. They weren't trying to rush, you know, but they also had like really good tempo. And, you know, like it worked. Like the Saints were winning 10, 12, 13 games with that. I don't understand this whole element like the deep ball. Like throw this thing, sling that thing. Like, come on, man. Like I get we like explosive plays. But all these plays equal to the same amount of points, no matter how you get there. There's going to come a time when you're going to have to throw a deep ball, I'm sure, but they ain't got to throw them every down. Like some people want these dudes to run streak routes every down. Oh, man, they're going deep. Like, man, run that football until these boys can stop it. And you control the time of possession. We don't, let me see, we don't got no Kareem Hunt money. That they can make some money for him. You know, they can make some room and give him some money, but I just don't think it's a good idea. And plus, man, I don't want to see Kareem Hunt as a backup to Alvin Kamara. This dude deserves to be a featured back in the league. Hit the like button. I appreciate that fake base. I think Hunt's still a great back. Me too. He just get lost in the sauce because Nick Chubb is so good. I mean, let me see. We struggle with Winston back there because he can't read the defense, fam. Looks no sacks the last two games, but I hope Jameis Winston gets another chance somewhere. I don't know if he can't. Look, you're not going to make it this long in the National Football League if you can't completely read the defense. I just think that, to me, I think that due to the injury and the opposition knowing the severity of the injury, it just made Jameis vulnerable. It made him vulnerable, you know, and, you know, you can't run. You kind of a stationary target. And, you know, it just kind of made things kind of rough for him. You know, like they was just out there doing cover zero, right? They're just out there, you know, like you can't run, like you can't really escape. You ain't going to try to go out here and try to dive forward or try to slide for a first down. They knew that, right? But like I said, the defense, the offense of the New Orleans Saints is just ran different, you know? It just ran different with Andy Dalton. You know, I think Andy Dalton getting the ball out of his hands quick. And you also combine the fact that the running game is starting to heat up. You know, I think that's the reason why the Saints are in this position. Let me see. I think Chuba Hubbard got hurt too. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He did get hurt in the game. Let's see. Think about this. We don't even know how good the offense can be. Penning still needs to come back. Mike T, if he ever comes back, in Landry. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of unanswered questions out here pertaining to the Saints offense. But look, the fact that they're figuring it out without those guys is a plus, right? Because we all know what those guys bring to the table when they're out there. So if you can have some success without them and be able to win some games in their absence, when they come back later on in the season, when you really have to make a run, it's probably be better. You know, now it's like, at first you're like, man, I can't wait for them to come back. You still feel that way, but now it's like, man, when they come back, you know, we still got a chance, right? I mean, you wanted them to come back because you felt like we didn't have a chance. Now you want them to come back because we do have a chance. Quinn openly admitted he is better on turf. Yeah, he is. I mean, look, all you got to do is watch the All 22 to tell you that. TJ, do you think Allante Taylor is ready for the challenge for cornerback number 2? I don't think so, but I like what I'm seeing. Adebo is my guy, though. Look, I said this yesterday. Allante Taylor gonna make it real interesting when Marshawn Lattimore comes back because he has played so well. He has played so well in the absence of Marshawn Lattimore to a point where you gotta you gotta put him out there. So at best, I mean at worst, I should say he gonna be playing in the nickel, because Bradley Roby isn't there when Marshawn comes back. And they probably flip a Debo and him from the outside and the inside. So he's gonna get some snaps. He deserves it. He deserves it. But I mean, I like Paulson Adebo. He did a really good job in the second half. I was kind of upset with him a little bit in the first half, but in the second half, he really made some plays. That pass deflection he made out over the sidelines without creating a pass interference was pretty incredible. But both of these guys have really good upside. And I also just think Paulson Adebo been hurt the last couple of weeks with that high ankle sprain. And if you ever had a high ankle sprain, he probably just getting better. This probably was the first game where he probably didn't really have any ailments based, from that injury that he had. If you ever had a high ankle sprain, it takes weeks in order for you to feel like you did before you even had that injury. So I'm just happy that they won yesterday. Yeah, me too. And I think a lot of people are. And it's good to see that they can be dominant. In the Panthers game, it affected the outcome. Yeah, I guess we talking about taking the helmet off. Yeah. We need Aaron Rodgers. He gonna leave like Brad Favre did. Nah, I'm good on Aaron Rodgers. I want no part of Aaron Rodgers. I appreciate the talent of Aaron Rodgers, but I never just was like, man, the Saints really need Aaron Rodgers. I just don't like his attitude. I don't like his attitude in losses. I don't like his attitude when things go wrong. You can tell a lot about a guy when things are going wrong, what type of leader, what type of player that they are. With him, it's like when the sky is falling, when the sky is falling, it's like, he's the one dropping down the debris to the ground. Instead of you trying to climb out of this hole, right? Instead, you basically just kind of throwing the ball away, taking a sack, not just really being interested in the game, not trying to facilitate a comeback or anything like that. When it's like when the Green Bay Packers are having a bad day, Aaron Rodgers just don't want no part of it. Look no further than last year, week 1 versus the New Orleans Saints in Jacksonville. There was a pass that he just kind of threw up, and it was just just an effort pass. Man, we lose anyway, F it. Y'all don't want to play today. Y'all, that's kind of like what it was like. Not the Saints didn't want to play today, his teammates. Man, y'all don't want to play today. Just go throw it out here, whatever. I don't want a guy like that with that type of attitude leading my team. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. What I want in a leader is when I look in your eyes. When I'm looking in your eyes, I know that I got a lead out there. This man is going to give his all, his blood, his sweat, his tears. He cares about me. He cares about my family. He cares if we're going to be successful. That's what you want in a guy. Not a guy that's counting his bankroll and going into the office every single year I played this way and I want this amount of money and I understand that it might set the organization back. Heck, it might even set me back, right? Because I ain't got nobody to throw it to. But I don't want a guy like that on the team. That's a me guy instead of a we guy. And everything that I've seen out of Aaron Rodgers, besides the talent that he possesses, is that he is indeed a me guy. And like I said, I mean, you're talented, so people going to try to look past that. But now you're in the twilight of your career and you're stinking it up. Now everybody is just going to really be talking about how much of a jerk you are because your game ain't backing it up. I do not want, I'm serious. I have never been interested in Aaron Rodgers as a New Orleans Saints quarterback. If he was to come to the Saints, I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He has really good talent, but I just don't like this dude's attitude as far as him being a leader and him being a guy that I can look at and get some level of hope that we can be able to do some things that don't involve oh, you know what I'm saying? Watch what I can do. Instead of watching what we can do together. You think Jameis can thrive now with the new game plan? I think there's some things that Jameis can do in his game plan, but I just think that at this particular stage, I just think that Andy Dalton is better for what the Saints are trying to do because he kind of fits that mold. I think that Jameis, like if let's just say, I'm knocking on wood, let's just say something was to happen to Andy. Do I feel like Jameis can come in and win the Saints games? Yes. Yes, I do. All right. But I just think that I think that all of this is just based on how involved Andy Dalton has gotten Alvin Kamara as the quarterback. Like how involved he has gotten Alvin Kamara, and I think that was the deal for the New Orleans Saints to go forward and choose Andy Dalton over Jameis Winston. The Ravens game is super important. We need to win this game. Yeah, I agree. What's Lattimore injury? Lattimore, I think he had like a little, I don't want to say a little, but he had like a rib injury. I think like it was a game versus Seattle. It was a little bit of a collision in the end zone, and I think one of the guys may have came down on Marshawn Lattimore's side, and they were saying that I think he had like a kidney bruise or something like that, but they make it sound like it's something light, but having a bruise on your kidney, that's pretty tough, and pretty sure he probably had some bruised ribs or a cracked rib. And, Rodgers will blame any and everyone but himself. He and Dede would go at it behind the scenes. I agree with that. Time to get young, second oldest team in the league. Look, right now, you look, Marvin, you focus on that next year, not this year. Right? You focus on that kind of stuff. You go out here, you try to make a run at it. If it don't pan out, then oh well, it is what it is, right? But then then you try to rebuild. You see what you have in house, see what you can, move forward with, and you figure out what you can bring in to make the team better. But right now, we're trying to get this dub every single week. What's up, TJ? Been listening while at work with the AirPods, big dog. Damian, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. He quit last night when the Bills jumped out to the big lead. Yeah. I mean, this dude is a grandstander to me. Like, he be grandstanding. Like, all he does is, if they up, he go trying to throw the ball and looking at people in the crowd and trying to throw it too, trying to grandstand. But when it goes bad, here he comes, like not interested, taking sacks, throwing the ball just to the ground. Like, where to fight at? I don't know where to fight at. Right? I mean, where is it? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me where the fight is, because I don't see it. TJ, Jeff Duncan just posted this stat. New Orleans is one of only 3 teams going into Monday Night Football ranked top 10 in offense and defense. The other 2, Buffalo, Philly. We said it all year, beating ourselves. Yeah, look, we all know what talent this team has. We know the players. We recognize them, and we've seen these guys play at a high level. That was kind of the whole reason why we were so frustrated as a fan base. And, now, man, let's just see. Look, this game was great, but it doesn't absolve them of all of the wrongdoing that has taken place this season. You got to be able to make a run out of this, and you cannot afford to be going back and resorting back to what has gotten you in this position. It was Lockett. He fell on Lattimore after the score. Yeah. I couldn't think of who it was. I knew it was a touchdown, though. It was a good pass by Geno Smith. But Andy don't call the plays. The same folks were calling during Jameis Winston time. Go figure. Let's see. But Andy don't call the plays. The same folks were calling during Jameis Winston. Look, I don't. All I know is this. They decided to go with Andy Dalton because they feel like, he was the best at getting the ball to Alvin Kamara. I mean, I just feel like that was what made that decision. And also, like I said, you can't deny it. Like, you cannot deny it. You cannot deny the high third down conversion rate. You cannot deny the completion percentage. You can't deny the fact that the Saints defense is averaging over 20 points a game, 24, 25 points a game. So you can't argue with that. Like, I understand that some of us want Jameis to play, and they prefer Jameis over Andy, but hey, like this dude has this offense going in the right direction right now with no Thomas and no Landry. Rodgers' time is over. He put Packers in the salary cap hell, and they wouldn't pay Adams. He had a say in that. He thinks he's the team and let Adams walk. Well, you're the team now, and now look at them. Because now they gave all that money to you when they could have probably went out there and got somebody else. But I don't even blame Aaron Rodgers to a certain extent. I blame the organization, because the organization has to realize that Aaron Rodgers is only going to play for a handful of years, and we have to continue life after Aaron Rodgers retires. See, the thing about it is it's the whole Tom Brady effect. People said that once Dalton come in, that was it for Winston. I'll answer that question in a second, but I blame the Green Bay Packers about that whole situation, because, like I said, you got to build for the future, and that whole Tom Brady effect has really created this illusion for a lot of organizations, because Tom Brady is 45 years old playing football and still, playing at a pretty, high level, even though this year, is looking pretty bad. It looked like, it pretty much time for Tom to exit stage left. But for the most part, throughout his 40s, he has played at such a high level. So now when you look at a guy like a Aaron Rodgers, and you look at a guy like a Russell Wilson, and you looked at a guy like a Matt Ryan, you like, well, Tom Brady did it, right? He playing into his 40s, and with all these new rules and protecting the quarterback, these guys can play well into their 40s too. So now if Aaron Rodgers doesn't decide that I want to step down, I want to play into my 40s, we're going to sign you to a longer deal because we expect for you to continue to play at a high level, because look at Tom. But Tom is an anomaly, and I think teams are starting to see that. And you're probably going to see some of these other quarterbacks that get into the late stages of their career may not be able to get the money that they're actually asking for, because teams are probably looking at Tom Brady as an anomaly instead of like being an actual thing in modern times. So he set his organization back, and they set themselves back by looking at Tom Brady, and they feel like Aaron Rodgers has a better skill set and plays the quarterback position, can make all the throws better than a Tom Brady. So why can't we pay him? But it backfired on him. Baltimore Ravens coming for that W. See you Sunday. Oh yeah, beat Bucks next meeting. Let's see. All smiles today. Green Bay fans went from relaxing to panicking. Yeah, I think Minnesota got that division. Donald Rodgers like a bully, but when he's hit in the mouth, he folds quickly. Yep. If he starts to get sacked, man, he just gonna start throwing that ball away. He ain't even gonna be looking for nobody. Hopefully, we can get a good defense alignment in the second or third round of this year. Yeah, I hope so. You get somebody. They need somebody young that's gonna be able to hunt and got a high motor. Mark Ingram is out 3 to 4 weeks, so you might see a Lil Jordan next week. Yeah, you might, not Lil Jordan Humphrey, but Jordan Howard. If you get rid of Roby and Evans and keep CJ Gardner-Johnson, we're better. Yeah, I mean, CJ Gardner-Johnson, what he got, like 5 interceptions this season? He's had interceptions in back-to-back weeks. He's playing at a high level out there in Philly. It's no question that CJ Gardner-Johnson was good. It's just the fact that I guess his attitude, they didn't feel like it would mesh with a new regime. If Sean Payton was still with the Saints, this guy would still be on the team and probably would have got paid. I think we should go at Baltimore Huntley. That's just my opinion. He's young and has potential. Aaron Rodgers is a me type of player. That's why he only has 1 ring. He should have ran against the 49ers. Yeah, and he didn't. Yeah, I mean, I've been a real big fan of Tyler Huntley, and I've been lobbying for that. I said, well, I can pretty much say it now. They need to look at Tyler Huntley in the offseason, because I'm saying that because, the Saints have done everything but said that they've given up on Jameis Winston. All right, Jameis Winston, they said, is healthy enough to play. and they still chose to go with Andy Dalton. That tells me that at best, Jameis Winston will only serve as like a bridge quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, going forward. They're not going to look at him as the guy. They're not going to pay him as the guy. He just will be, a guy on the team. Tyler Huntley is a guy that you want to look at, especially if you can't get into the first round. He's already an established veteran. He's played in some games. He's made some plays. He's a restricted free agent right now going into this offseason. So if you pay him, and Baltimore more than likely is not going to counter off of that, bring him on, because I'm pretty sure that Baltimore has bigger fish to fry with Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson, I'm pretty sure he's going to get he's pretty much going to get his contract that he's looking for. So he's going to be the franchise guy. And you don't want to have a guy like Tyler Huntley just sitting on the sidelines. That's just not going to happen. So I can see Tyler Huntley being out there. He's a restricted free agent. You make an offer, I'm pretty sure Baltimore won't counter offer that, especially if it's an opportunity for him to be a starting quarterback. Ruiz and Pete are playing better up front. Was concerned about the guard position going into the season. Glad I was concerned for nothing. Derek, I think what you're actually seeing is guys that are really good run blockers. I said this before. I said now I know people may not agree with this, but Andrus Peat is one of the best run blockers in football. Like as a guard, his issue was in pass protection. So now you have a New Orleans Saints team that is looking to run more so than pass. I think you're going to see the potential that, and you're going to see Andrus Peat play at a higher level, because that's kind of like his calling card. And then once Trevor Penning come back, you already know what he is and as a run blocker. So, the sky's the limit for the New Orleans Saints offensive line, and I'm happy. And I want to praise this guy. I got to praise Cesar Ruiz, because, man, we've had little spoofs and little posters and made jokes, and one of my most classic rants of all time involved the Saints drafting Cesar Ruiz. So I feel like if we're going to sit up here and talk about this man and bash this dude and talk about he ain't good enough and talking about he's slipping and sliding all over the place, I feel like it's only right for us to, appreciate the steps that this guy has made as a guard, because we've been tough. I know I have. I won't speak for everybody else. I've been tough on this dude, and I've said some things that, I said some things about the guy that, I gotta be, man, enough to say, okay, he did what he needed to do to get better. So I applaud this guy for the way that he's been playing, and he's arguably been the best offensive lineman on the team. And he's also the most durable. He was the only guy last season that played in all games, and he's continued to play on the offensive line at a high level now. How many times has somebody tweeted about Cesar Ruiz not being in the right place, or Cesar Ruiz is out there mauling folks? So I want to give this guy's credit, when he does good, because I was up there giving him credit when he wasn't doing so good. T. Smitty, thank you very much for the $5. Says the Saints said they didn't believe in Winston when they went all in on Watson. Jameis should have read the writing on the wall and went elsewhere. Yeah, I mean, I think Jameis Winston's passive personality, and how loyal he is to a certain cause or a certain thing, I think it kind of like, it denies him of other opportunities that he could have had. He could have got on a plane and went to Indianapolis, which probably seemed like that would have been the best idea right now. But he could have got on a plane, but instead he wanted to play for the New Orleans Saints, right? And he wanted to come back and, and be that leader and be that quarterback that can lead the Saints to the playoffs and into the Super Bowl. But I think the Saints organization has something else in mind, right? It was almost like it was almost like if a guy dating a woman, he dates a woman, but he's not honest and truthful to the woman, right? He just keep her around, you know what I'm saying? Because like she's a sure thing. Like, you know, this other woman throw me out. I know I can knock on her door in the middle of the night and she gonna open the door for me, let me sleep, you know what I'm saying, in the house, or is she gonna let me use a car if nobody let me use theirs? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like things trifling guys would do, right? That's kind of what the Saints did. The Saints basically used Jameis Winston, right? They couldn't get the one that they wanted, but they had the sure thing in their back pocket. Well, if all else fails, then we can always go back to Jameis. And that's kind of like that's kind of what they did. And it's unfair, you know, because they knew that, you know, he was going to be there because he wanted to play for this team. But I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him because in the process, the whole Andy Dalton signing pretty much was like they signed Andy Dalton because they didn't trust Jameis Winston. Like they felt like, okay, if he starts to resort back to what Jameis Winston normally does and what we see him do, then we can bring Andy in. And they were just looking for it. They were looking for the first line of trouble. Like it wouldn't have went like this if Payton was the coach. It wouldn't have went like this. It wouldn't have. But they was like in the first line of trouble, you know, we gonna bench him. Man, I mean, you kind of saw that coming. And I said that. I said, man, Jameis was playing the entire time because he knew as soon as he steps down, he goes and gets himself all healed up. The Saints are going to give this opportunity to Andy Dalton, and he's not going to get it back. And as we can see, that's what happened. Mad respect for giving credit where it's due, TJ. Look, I said this. You know, I'm not one of those podcasters that can't admit that I'm wrong or I made a mistake. I don't mind. I do not care. Like I don't. Like I understand that credibility is important, and I try to be as credible as possible, but I also agree that it's okay to say that you were wrong about something. It's okay. You know, like I don't feel like my credibility as a podcaster or onlooker of this team, I don't feel like it's in question. Like it's no different between us. Like, man, I think the Saints gonna win this week. And if they don't, or I think the Saints gonna lose this week, or they win, right? That's not like you might look at things based on what you're actually seeing and you come to that conclusion, right? It's kind of how it works. So if I can sit up here, talk about Cesar Ruiz, talk about him, you know, not playing well, then I should be mad enough. Or if you're watching this, or woman enough, if you said something about him, you should admit that you were wrong about him. And you should be happy that you're wrong, because everything that he is doing that is positive is helping this team, you know, be able to win football games. So I have no problem with eating crow. I have no problem with admitting I'm wrong, and I'm happy. I am so happy for Cesar Ruiz to change the narrative that was being written about him. I'm all about a good comeback story. I never have a problem eating crow, TJ. I love when the Saints prove me wrong. Yeah. I mean, nobody want to see these guys in the same predicament or in the same situation. If they struggling, right? Nobody wants to see this year after year after year. We want to see these dudes break out. I know I do. Like, I don't want to see, if I'm saying that a guy's playing bad, I don't want to see a guy continue to play bad. I don't want to see a guy continue to stink it up. Like, I don't want to see that. Like, I want to be able to get proven wrong so I can come on here and praise a guy. I mean, another guy, PJ Williams. Like, man, look, if you followed the State of Saints podcast, like earlier, like, man, some of the things that I said about PJ Williams, like, man, he must know where the bodies are buried. He must got some incriminating photos of Sean Payton. He keep on getting these 1-year deals, smoked like brisket, burnt like a biscuit. That actually stemmed from PJ Williams' cornerback performances. But now it's like PJ Williams is like one of the best players in the secondary. So I like when guys, prove me wrong, prove the naysayers wrong. I don't mind. I do not mind saying that I'm wrong at all. We have to play disciplined defense against the Ravens. Lamar and Hurts are at their peak, and we played both of them, TJ. Yeah. You got to be able to keep these boys in check, man. I mean, they was able to keep Kyler Murray in check for the most part, but this man is King RPO right here. This is like Bowser. He's like King Cooper. He's like General Bison. He's like Akuma. For all my video game people out there, he's like Idol. You know what I'm saying, on Killer Instinct. Like, he is the master of this stuff, right? He the big boss. Let's see. Looking for the first line of trouble. Agreed, man. Saint said, I'm going home to be with my side piece. Exactly. Yeah, that's how they treated Jameis Winston. Do you see us shopping Winston? That's a good question. I'm not sure if they'll shop him or not. Depends on if a team actually want him and what they'd be willing to give up for him. That's an interesting question, though. I wouldn't put it past the realm of possibility. But they got a day and a half to figure it out, because the trade deadline, I think, is done on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Breaking my heart or it breaks my heart for dude. But just gotta pray he gets get more on the horizon. Yeah. Look, it's unfortunate, but here's the reality is it's a cutthroat league. It's a cutthroat league, and guys are going to say things in order for things to go their way, and it's about results. And nobody cares that Jameis was hurt, and nobody cares how many fractures he had in his back. All they know is when he went out there, he left a lot to be desired, and they're going to go with Andy Dalton because they feel like Andy Dalton gives them a better opportunity. Right or wrong, fair or unfair, that's just the way it goes. I would love to see our team healthy. The offense is rolling, and we would love to see all the weapons on deck. I like Jameis, but I'm a Saints fan first. Whoever is at quarterback, I don't care as long as it's equal. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. Like, I know people want to make this a black-white thing. Like, oh, they doing this to him because he a black man, because he's the black man, and the black man getting oppressed by the man. Look, all that stuff. Look, there are cases. I want to make this very, very clear. There are cases that does happen, right? I want to say there are cases. I want to make that very, very clear, because sometimes people, for some apparent reason, they feel like they live in their own little world, and just because they may be white and not racist, that ain't what's going on in the world. That ain't what's happening. Because they're looking at it from their own particular standpoint. You don't live everywhere, okay? And you don't deal with every situation, all right? There are situations that happen. But in this particular case, this is not a black-white thing. This is about production and not being productive. Like, that's something people just going to have to deal with. Like, I understand people like, man, it's the short leash. It was such a short leash for Jameis Winston, but I think it had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Jameis Winston is a black quarterback that he got such a short leash. It was a combination of the fact of him historically turning the ball over, and also the beginning of the season, all those sacks, the offense sputtering, not being able to generate points to the fourth quarter, late game heroics. That's what it came down to. And I guarantee, look, they may not admit this. They may not admit this. They would not go on record. But I guarantee you that Dennis Allen talked to those leaders of that team. They talked to DeMario. They talked to Cam. They talked to Alvin. They talked to Ryan Ramczyk. And he probably asked these, man, based on what do you think about this quarterback? I ain't saying it's the final decision because it comes down to Dennis. But it didn't seem like Alvin Kamara was too upset that Andy Dalton became the starting quarterback. Go back and look at that. Go back and look at that press conference, and go look at Alvin Kamara talking about Andy Dalton. And you tell me that sounds like a running back that's upset that the Saints decided to go with Andy Dalton. I'm just telling y'all what it is. Like, I'm serious. I'm just telling y'all what it is. In this particular case, it does not have anything to do with the color of Jameis Winston's skin. It don't. It had everything to do with the way the offense looks, when Andy is the quarterback and what it looks like when Jameis is the quarterback. It's just that simple. Baltimore might throw out Deshaun Jackson since Andrews is hurt. Well, Mark Andrews is one of the best tight ends in football, so that's a tough one right there. Then, you got Rashad Bateman. Man, they got some talented young guys on that team. And they can run the football. The bird hunting gauntlet on the schedule as RPO heavy offenses hurt is smash, Lamar is slash, Mariota dash. Yeah, I mean, you got plenty of that going on. 14, great job, Andy. What's up, TJ? Who that? We you. Snake came back home. They must have forgot to talk to Mark Ingram because he said something different to K in the interview. Yeah, maybe he did. So, but look, these guys are good PR guys, Brandon. They're going to say things that are PC, right? They're going to say those things. They're going to say the right things. But I'm telling you, like, based on, like, it would not surprise me, and it's not outside the realm of possibility that they had a conversation with those leaders on the team. And they probably, talked about what decision they probably was going to make and what they thought about that. I mean, most teams do that with their leadership. And he said on his off day, he probably will be hanging at Andy's house. Kamara was talking about hanging out at Andy's house. Yeah. TJ, I've seen a lot of people saying DeMario has dropped off this year. Do you agree? Or how much do you think is more P. Warner just playing out his mind? Look, that's kind of like what you actually want, to be honest with you. And I mentioned this before on the podcast. When you have older guys like a Cam Jordan, when you have older guys like DeMario Davis, you want those guys to be steady, but you don't want those guys just to be like the guys, right? It's all about evolution, right? I gotta use a wrestling analogy. I think y'all know where I'm going with this. You had the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista. They were a group called Evolution. You had Ric Flair, right? He still was, a really good wrestler, but he was the older guy. Then you had Triple H, who was kind of like in the prime. And then you had the young upstarts of Randy Orton and Batista, right? That's the way that it's supposed to kind of be lined up. You still have, the Cam Jordan who serves as like the Triple H still out there doing his thing. He's in the prime of his career still. But you have some young guys out here that's making a name for themselves because they can be able to take over once Cam Jordan decides to step down. With DeMario Davis, it's the same thing. DeMario Davis is still playing at a high level, but Pete Warner has taken, taken the leaps to be that young guy, to be able to allow DeMario Davis to kind of do his thing, continue to kind of, do his work, but at the same time, I'm on top of the roof. Okay. I'm, I use another example, like, climbing a roof or whatever like that, like when my grandfather, which he still does, but, my grandfather was a carpenter, he used to climb the ladders and stuff like that. But then I noticed, like, once he started to get older, then my uncles who used to work with him, like, nah, daddy, I got it. We're going to climb. We're going to get it up here. We're going to be on the roof. We got it. He did the work kind of, down low, and they was the ones that was up top. And that's the way it's supposed to be. There's nothing wrong with DeMario Davis. There's nothing wrong with DeMario Davis. There's nothing wrong with his production. P. Warner is just stepping up, being that young guy, and allowing DeMario Davis just to kind of do his thing. It's just getting overshadowed because of how special P. Warner has been playing. But he's still playing at a high level. I mean, what he had, like 2 sacks a couple weeks ago. He's still flying around the field. So, yeah. Scratch that. I was still a man, says Ric Flair. Thank you for the $2. And don't call plays, or do he? I wish fans didn't have tunnel vision and saw the entire picture. The red rifle is back 14. Who that stand up? DeMario takes on the blocks or the double team so Warner can make the plays. DeMario is still a beast. Yeah. I mean, he's still doing really big things. I just think, like I said, it's getting overshadowed because of Pete Warner. And also it's the freshness of Pete Warner as well, man. Looking at a new guy that, you haven't seen take it to this type of level before is exciting. I agree, TJ. Not only the press conferences from AK that he spoke highly of Andy, I've seen a couple times during the game, they was embarrassing each other. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm pretty sure like AK has a relationship with Jameis, and it's nothing personal. But, you got to be real. Like, you got to put your emotions to the side, and you got to put your ego to the side if you're going to win. We Ravens got tight end Isaiah Likely, Nick Boyle, and Josh Oliver as well, and other rookies, Charlie Kalor, who hasn't played yet, back from injury. Well, I like Isaiah Likely, and I know him pretty well because I stay in Myrtle Beach. Like, I literally stay 5 minutes from Coastal Carolina. So I'm very familiar with what this dude can actually do. And I seen him do his thing in preseason. He's a good player. Like, this dude is going to be something special for the Ravens, for years to come. I can tell you that right now. And if they don't pay him, then somebody else will when that time comes. 41, just smooth runner, fast. Yeah, Alvin Kamara is the smartest football player I ever seen. Like, his ability to see things before it happened, his ability to be able to make the right decisions. Like I said, it was 3 plays that stood out to me. On that choice route when he ran to the end zone, and he was just right there, and he just kind of stuck it out just naturally, like just kind of stuck it out like, oh yeah, I forgot to do this, and he scored a touchdown. Then it was another play. It was a screen pass that I want to say that Andy tried to get over the defender when he jumped, and Alvin Kamara could have caught it, but instead, like, he kind of just covered it to make sure that the linebacker didn't jump in front of the screen and catch the interception. He just jumped in front of it and just kind of batted it down because he realized if he would have caught it, it would have been a loss of yards. It's just stuff like that you actually just see this dude do. And then even like when he gets those screen passes, he kind of like, he be running fast. And then if he sees like a guy like Eric McCoy out the corner of his eye, he'll slow down in order for Eric McCoy to like jump in front of him and get a block so he can make his moves. This dude is like one of the smartest football players like I ever seen. Like, it's almost like watching a guy play Tetris or something like that in real life. Like, it's like he constantly like thinking, I got to put this shape right here. I got to put this right here. Right. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just amazing to watch. Like, he makes football looks like so easy. Like, anybody can. He makes it look like anybody can do it. Because it seemed like even when he run, it seemed like he just, okay, okay, I did this, whatever. It's pretty impressive to see how smart and how talented this dude is and how he just makes things look so easy, even when they're difficult. I agree Mark being out was a good thing. I don't want to say that. Like, I ain't trying to see nobody get hurt, but yeah. Let's see. Being 100% honest, though, it's hard to take a lot from this game considering who was played against. I will have more of an opinion after the Baltimore game. We still need an actual test to see what – look, this was a test. This was a test, right? I don't care. Like, look, you go up against who you go up against. It's just what it is. They played against the Raiders, but – you can say, oh, they played the Raiders, but they also played the Carolina Panthers and lost. Like, the Carolina Panthers, at that time, they had Matt Rule as their coach. They were a train wreck. The Saints went to Charlotte, and the fans that was in that stadium only was there to boo the heck out of Carolina and let the ownership know that Matt Rule needs to go. That was the only assignment that they thought they had for this game, because they were like, man, the Saints, like, we know we ain't got this. But then all of a sudden, like, you lose to them. So I'm not going to say, and like I said, you're entitled to your opinion. I understand what you feel like, man, you got that St. Louis mentality, right? You got to show me. I get it. But what I'm saying is you cannot take any games for granted. It is hard to win in the National Football League. And no matter who you play against, there's a strong possibility that you can lose, rather they're one of the worst teams or not. So for them to be able to pitch a shutout is pretty remarkable. The Las Vegas Raiders are the third best offense in football. Well, they may be not right now, but when they came into the season Superdome, the Saints were on a 2-game losing streak, and they were the number 3 offense in football. So for them to pitch a shutout against those guys, that's still pretty commendable. Now, I'm on board with you when I got to see it again. Like, you got to keep on doing it. I agree, but I'm not going to poo-poo this performance. I'm not going to defecate on this. This is something that you can build on. And of course, like the assignment is not finished, right? You still got plenty more games to play. So they're going to have to keep this momentum going. But I'm not going to say I'm not impressed. I am impressed. I mean, they shut these boys out. They don't get more impressive than that. Let's see. Isaiah Likely, actually the truth. Yeah, he's pretty doggone good, man. AK and Andy and AK with Winston, 2 totally different players. He's getting more involved with the offense, man. I stand firmly behind the raunchy rifle redhead know how to fart. Let's see. Mark Ingram is done. I think they brought him back for leadership, but if you're playing sucks, your voice falls on deaf ears. Well, I don't believe that. Mark Ingram has been doing this for years in the National Football League, and he has respect in that locker room. And also, he probably has more respect now because he's willing to concede the fact that this is Alvin Kamara's team. Because once upon a time, the Saints had Pierre Thomas, and Mark Ingram was supposed to be, the next man up. And it became Mark Ingram's team. Then Alvin Kamara came along. So I got a lot of respect for Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram isn't being selfish. Okay, I'm carrying the ball 10 times, fine. Oh, you want me to play fullback on this? Fine. You want me to make this block for Taysom? Fine. So that's the kind of stuff people respect. Guy being in his 30s and playing since he was 20 for 12 years, he's been in the National Football League. So I don't think respect just goes out the window because a guy starts to get older and he starts to slow down. He still has something to contribute to. And when he does come into the game, he tries to contribute. And he's doing dirty work too. I mean, are you seeing him in pass protection? See, we look at him, okay, man, he ain't busting 74-yard runs. But we're not looking at him in pass protection. We're not looking at the block that he sprang in order to get Taysom, 5 and 6 yards. We ain't looking at that 3rd and 1 when, they had him on some old Zach Line, Josh Hill type stuff when they handed it off, Adam Prentice type stuff when they handed it off to him like a fullback and he getting that 1 yard. We ain't paying attention to that. But those are the things that, we don't pay attention to as fans, but it's getting guys fired up in the film room. So that's not poo-poo on the performance because he's not breaking them for 74 no more. He's still out there contributing in other ways, and his teammates respect that. Hi, I'm new. I just subbed and hit the like button. Well, I appreciate that, LJ. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for being here. Bags and they been giving up points as well. Allante Taylor brought the energy our defense was missing. I agree. Yeah, that kid was fired up. What's up on that Alvin Kamara situation about those trade rumors? Is something true? No, there's nothing true about that. TJ, if the Saints beat the Ravens, do you think that's enough for DA to keep his job? If they look, I put it like this. Dennis Allen not being with the New Orleans Saints is more so what I want because I still don't trust this dude as a coach. I know he was a good defensive performance, but I still don't trust this dude as a coach. But I think the Saints are one of those teams that, they kind of fueled by ego and they don't like to admit when they're wrong about some certain things. So I think he would come back next year regardless. If it was me, I don't know, I'd try to look for somebody else, but he's gonna to me, I think he's gonna come back regardless because that would mean that the Saints would have to admit that they made a mistake. But so he's gonna keep his job to me, regardless to what the season end up being. I think they're gonna keep him still. But if you lose games and you're going to the next season, you might not survive the following season. I can tell you that. But yeah, I think he's gonna keep his job regardless. I'm just not a fan. Wasn't the Raiders ranked third offense in the NFL coming into the game? Guys, we shut them out. We spoke to the defense. Who spoke to the defense? I don't know who spoke to him, but maybe, there was the whole talk with Alvin Kamara, got him fired up. DA still not the one. Yeah, I'm not impressed. Taylor should be number 2, or at least in the open, compete with a Debo for that spot. The eye test definitely confirms this. I think, Blake, what you're going to actually see is an alternation of inside, outside by both guys. I think they're going to both play the nickel and on outside. You see, Jerry, you tripping. I don't know what Jerry tripping about. Taylor, best cornerback in a while. He should be cornerback 1 now. I don't know about that. Lattimore is still a beast. Okay, it's going to take more than one game for me to just anoint him as the number 1 corner. He got to win the division to stay off the hot seat. This is a very winnable division, so no excuses. Yeah, I mean, look, if Sean Payton would have had this team, I don't think the Saints, to be quite honest, I think the Saints probably have a 4 or 5 game lead on everybody else. They just picked a bad year to play some of their worst football early in the season. We all not give up on Kamara. I will boycott the team. I just can't justify that. Man, calm down, everybody. There is no trade speculation. There's nothing around the Saints organization talking about trading Alvin Kamara. Nothing at all. I don't know where that came from. I don't know what people talking about. That I don't know where that came from, where that stemmed from, but the dude isn't going anywhere. This dude, Kevin Hopkins, said Taylor should be cornerback number 1 at 2 games. Nah, that's overreaction Monday right there. We need to use Jordan Howard. You're probably going to end up using them anyway. Ingram has a grade 2 MCL sprain. Taylor should be cornerback number 1. Do y'all actually know football? I just think, I think they know football, but they just impressed by what they saw. But let's just calm down a little bit, okay? And I definitely don't want this to be a week-to-week bipolar attack. Oh, he good. Oh, he suck. Oh, he good. Oh, he suck. Like, nah. That dude really said Taylor cornerback was showing prisoner of the moment is a thing. Yeah, that ain't the move right there. That ain't the move. Y'all calm down. Taylor good, but he's not Marshawn. Let's not let the couple game Marshawn miss jog y'all memory. 23 a real dog. Yeah. Let me see. Mark missed the 2 yards to carry. Ingram had no choice but to turn over the leadership. Well, look, this man is still going to be the leader, and I'm pretty sure this man, well, he's still well respected, right? I don't know. I don't think respect just goes out of the window because you start to get a little bit up there in age, but you still contributing and doing the dirty work. Like, guys still respect you and guys still look at you for your leadership. So I'm just glad to see the D-line show up and play with energy. Yeah, man, shouts out to Payton Turner. Shouts out to Marcus Davenport, David Onyemata. Like the guys that we looked at and said, okay, man, these guys going to be able to step up and, they're going to take that jump. It's good to see it, but let's see if we can see it consistently. Falcon fans celebrating like they won a Super Bowl. I mean, let them celebrate, man. Let them celebrate, but, I mean, the season isn't over. Hope Mark gets better soon. Just tired of seeing him on third. Yeah, well, I mean, he's not the feature back anymore. And you have a back in Alvin Kamara that doesn't have to lead the field. Like, why would Alvin Kamara have to leave the field? Like, why would you have to, like, he can run in between the tackles. He can run stretch plays. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. Like, if Alvin Kamara didn't need Gatorade or, if he didn't need a break, he never had to lead a game. He does everything. So, of course, like when you have a running back that can do all those things, there's going to be very little room for a guy to come in and get carries. Where was Justin Evans, TJ? Justin Evans played pretty good. I mean, that one pass that Derek Carr threw to the wide receiver, on the sidelines, Justin Evans broke that joint up. That probably was his best game, in the secondary in the regular season. Can we get the Turf Toe song? we gonna leave that alone today. We'll get it next episode. TJ, what do you think about the Drew? I'm about to say the Drew Hill. About the Drew Brees offensive coordinator. I don't know. Can Drew Brees coach offense? I don't know. I mean, just because a guy was great as a player don't mean he's going to be great as a coach. You know, that don't always happen. You know, I mean, my college is benefiting from that. A great player in Deion Sanders being a good coach, but everybody don't have that in them. You know, normally like guys who are great players don't end up being great coaches because they're kind of wired differently. So can Drew Brees be an offensive coordinator? I don't know. Like, I don't know what Drew Brees is capable of doing. And he is in on third mainly for his pass blocking. Yeah. Let's see. Taylor had 2 good games, played 5, and had 1 good game on Bucks and got fined for all the BS. So oh man. So let me get this straight, Kev. Let me get this straight. Okay, so you have a guy who has been in the league for 6 years, right? So Marshawn Lattimore been in the league for 6 years. Has started every game that he's played in for 6 years. All right. Still ranked among like the best cornerbacks in the league. But you saying that you're going to get rid of him and replace him with a guy who has played 2 games and has not even like reached the cusp of what he can possibly be as a player just yet. Like we know for a fact that it's coming. It's not like this dude ain't gonna be able to shut everybody. Like, there's no cornerback in the league. I don't care if it's Jalen Ramsey. I don't care if it's Jair Alexander. I don't care who it is. They're gonna have a bad game. So you're telling me based on 2 games that you're willing to move Marshawn Lattimore to the number 2 spot because Allante Taylor made a couple tackles and he went up against Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins, and now all of a sudden he should be anointed a guy?
Hell no. To the no. Hell to the no.
No, sir. That is prisoner of moment. That is I get it, man. Look, I'm glad that you happy for him, but man, slow your roll, please. Slow your roll, man. That slow your roll, man. Like, seriously, like that's kind of what I'll be talking about, like how our emotions change based on, from down to down. So let's just say, for example, knocking on wood when I say this, but let's just say Allante Taylor doesn't have a good outing versus the Baltimore Ravens. Then what you gonna say then? Like, that's why I'm saying, like, man, just pump our brakes. Like, it's good that he's having these moments, and I hope he continues, but that's a lot of pressure to be putting on a dude like that. You know what I'm saying? Based on 2 games. That ain't the move right there, bro. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but this guy gotta play. He gotta play way more than what he's doing right now for me to be sitting up here talking about he need to be cornerback number 1. That ain't it, man. Not yet. That's why I hate talking sports with people. Most people don't know what they're talking about. Just joining what I missed. We just talking about the game, man. Let's see, man. we are all dumber to have heard. Let's see. Let me see. Let's stroll back up a little bit. It says, I agree. That's why Taylor fresh. It shows we need fresh players. All the starters we have are busted. Get rid of them. Man, what are we doing? Kevin, what are we doing, man?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Nah, that ain't it, man. That ain't it. Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, but look, I like all jokes aside, dude. Kev, it's all jokes here, man. I don't know if you're new to the channel, but it's all jokes. We respect everybody's opinion, whether we agree with it or not. But I don't think it's the time to anoint him as the guy. Okay, let's give this young man, the opportunity to build up into what he can possibly be. That Taylor take was the hottest in SOTS since the book will start at quarterback. God, preseason. Oh my goodness. He said, Kev, what's going on, man? I don't know, man, but hey, I like it. Like I said, I like the enthusiasm, though. Man, we got 300 people watching this on a lunch break, 12:30, man. Thank y'all so much. I ask that y'all hit the like button, and I really do appreciate it, man. But my final thoughts before I get up out of here. New Orleans Saints get that victory, get the big shutout. We all like that. We all enjoying this. But let's just keep this momentum going. Let's just keep this train rolling. Let's try to get some of our key players back from injury. Let's continue to try to get that pressure up front. And they got to be prepared, man, because they're going up against a really, really, really good quarterback in Lamar Jackson, who is playing at a high level. And you do not want to get him rolling, especially on a big stage in prime time. So hopefully the Saints can be able to come up with a good game plan similar to what they did against the Raiders and be able to get a 2-0 streak going. I mean, believe it or not, the Saints haven't won 2 straight games since 2020. That's crazy. So let's get back into the win column. Let's get back to the winning ways that we all are accustomed to seeing, and looking forward to talking about it. We have some guests coming up this week on Wednesday. Let me see. I think it's Wednesday. Let me make sure I'm telling you all right. All right. Yeah. Well, Thursday, rather. On Thursday, we have a special guest here on the State of the Saints podcast. We'll have the voice of the New Orleans Saints, Mike Hoss. He will be on the show this week. I'm looking for some more guests that I'm going to have on the show for you all. I'm trying to see if I can get Ross Jackson on the show, get my guy Mike Detillier. Hopefully he's not busy. We're going to try to get some guests, but Mike Hoss definitely has been confirmed, the voice of the New Orleans Saints. He'll be back on the State of the Saints podcast to talk to us about the Saints' victory over the Raiders and, of course, the big matchup on Monday Night Football versus the Baltimore Ravens. Feel free to comment down below, like and share this video. And this has been the State of the Saints podcast. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. You can also follow me on Twitter at TJAYJones8. That's TJAY Jones 8. Really do appreciate all your love and your time, and everybody get back to work. And I hope everyone has a good Halloween. Be safe out there. Shouts out to you. Shouts out to your kids. If you have kids out there, going to be trick-or-treating tonight. Once again, be safe. And till next time, all I got to say is